Before you allocate another dollar, it is critical to understand that the mechanics of this cycle are structurally different. Relying on outdated models is no longer just a risk. It is a guaranteed path toward a permanent misallocation of capital from which your portfolio may never recover. Imagine the disciplined investor from the last cycle. They followed the 4-year pattern perfectly, sold their entire position at the logical peak, and secured their profit. But then they were forced to watch from the sidelines as a tidal wave of institutional liquidity, trillions of dollars, entered the market, driving the price to levels their models said were impossible. They were correct according to the old rules, but catastrophically wrong about the new reality. That single logical decision locked them out of a generational transfer of wealth, permanently. This is not a conversation about hype or conspiracy theories. It is a system-level analysis designed to prevent you from making that same mistake. Your decision to buy, sell, or hold carries more weight than ever because the fundamental plumbing of the global financial system is being rebuilt. Misunderstanding this new structure is the fastest way to permanently misallocate capital. This analysis is designed to help you make a more informed decision for your portfolio, right now. The primary issue impacting your portfolio is no longer just inflation. It's a structural change in global liquidity. For years, the US national debt, which now stands at over $38.5 trillion, has been a key driver of market liquidity. As of early 2026, interest payments alone are on a trajectory to surpass $1 trillion annually. But what matters isn't the debt number itself, it's how institutions are now forced to respond to it. This is an arithmetic reality that forces fiscal and monetary decisions, and their response changes everything for your portfolio. This is the precise point where most investors unknowingly invalidate their own strategy. This is where the current cycle fundamentally diverges from the past. The approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs created a regulated bridge for institutional capital, changing Bitcoin's behavior. While many still see it as a pure safe haven asset, institutional capital often treats it as a risk-on asset, making it highly sensitive to these liquidity shifts. For a long-term holder, this institutional demand provides a structural tailwind. For a short-term trader, it means a new source of volatility as Bitcoin's price becomes more correlated with traditional market reactions to macroeconomic data. Visualize what this means in practice. In the old retail-driven cycle, price action was like a wave building slowly, giving you time to react. The new institutional cycle is a sudden tectonic shift. An asset manager executes a single 9-figure allocation through an ETF. On the chart, this doesn't create a wave. It creates a sheer cliff face, a permanent repricing in a single afternoon. The retail investor, waiting for the familiar pullback based on the old model, is left behind, staring at a price level that will never return. The consequence for your decision-making is immediate. A strategy based solely on past 4-year cycles is dangerously incomplete. You must now account for the institutional variable. Are you positioned to benefit from the long-term adoption curve? Or are you exposed to short-term liquidity shocks driven by global macro players who see Bitcoin as just another asset in a portfolio? To make an informed decision, you must understand the new machinery being built. There are 4 key mechanisms driven by incentives, not personalities. First, is the role of stablecoins as a source of structural demand for US debt. Far from a niche crypto product, stablecoins have become a critical component of Treasury demand. Issuers like Tether now hold over $141 billion in US Treasury exposure to back their tokens. As some foreign nations diversify away from US debt, the regulated stablecoin industry is emerging as a non-political buyer, effectively digitizing the dollar and expanding its settlement rails. Legislative proposals like the Clarity for Payment Stablecoins Act aim to formalize this, creating a regulated framework for these new capital flows. Second is the influence of institutional custody and ETFs, which function as institutional liquidity valves. The launch of spot Bitcoin ETFs represented a monumental shift, creating a regulated, insured, and familiar access ramp for trillions of dollars in institutional capital. This isn't just about price, It's about legitimacy and settlement. It allows asset managers to allocate to Bitcoin within existing compliance and risk frameworks, transforming it from a fringe asset to a recognized component of a diversified portfolio. But how do these mechanisms translate from abstract concepts into direct pressure on Bitcoin's price? Third, observe the US government's own holdings, which have become a strategic market variable. Through asset forfeitures, the government has passively become one of the world's largest Bitcoin holders, with a trove estimated at around 200,000 BTC. While not an active investment, this creates a significant undeployed supply that overhangs the market. Recent discussions around a strategic Bitcoin reserve signal a potential shift from passive holding to strategic consideration, a factor that institutions are monitoring closely. Finally, there's the pivot in global settlement. While some nations increase their gold reserves, this is a 20th century play in a 21st century digital economy. The real competition is in the speed and efficiency of settlement. Here, digital dollars via stablecoins are already creating deep, liquid markets that are orders of magnitude more efficient for capital flows than moving physical metal. These mechanisms, stablecoin treasury demand, ETF on-ramps, passive government holdings, and digital settlement, are the new financial plumbing. Let's construct a decision framework for this new environment. This isn't financial advice, but a model for clear, risk-adjusted thinking. Ask yourself these questions. Where are we in the global liquidity cycle? First, ask yourself, is monetary policy tightening or loosening? In a risk-on environment with expanding liquidity, institutional demand for Bitcoin is likely to increase. In a risk-off, tightening environment, those same institutions may reduce exposure. The successful investor can distinguish between a Bitcoin-specific event and a macro-driven liquidity event. What is institutional sentiment telling me? Second, analyze the ETF flows. Are they consistently positive, indicating structural accumulation? Or are they turning negative, suggesting profit-taking or de-risking? This data is now a primary indicator of institutional conviction. A long-term accumulator uses periods of outflows to acquire more at lower prices, while a tactical investor uses these flows to refine entries and exits. Is my allocation binary or professional? Look at your own portfolio. A binary all-in or all-out approach is suboptimal. A tiered allocation strategy, a core long-term holding for thesis alignment, supplemented by a smaller tactical position for flexibility, balances conviction with adaptability. This professional, risk-adjusted approach is how high-net-worth investors focus on returns, not just speculation. Have I honestly assessed my volatility tolerance? Institutional involvement does not eliminate volatility. It changes its character. Can your portfolio withstand sharp drawdowns driven by macro events, not just crypto-specific news? An investor with a low tolerance is exposed and should consider smaller allocations or derivative strategies to hedge that risk. What is my true time horizon? Finally, determine your holding strategy as it reflects your time horizon and trust in intermediaries. The ETF provides ease and regulated security. Self-custody provides ultimate control and aligns with a long-term sovereign thesis. An investor planning to hold for a decade or more benefits from mastering self-custody, while one using Bitcoin for portfolio diversification may be better served by the ETF structure. The current market state is not static. We are in an analytical 12 to 24 month macro transition window, where several triggers could accelerate a repricing of Bitcoin, creating a sense of urgency based on system mechanics. A liquidity shock is the primary catalyst. A sudden crisis in traditional banking or sovereign debt markets could force central banks to reverse course and inject massive liquidity. In such a scenario, institutional capital, now comfortable with Bitcoin via regulated ETFs, could flood into the asset at a non-linear speed not seen in previous cycles. A regulatory shock could have the opposite short-term effect. While the US framework is clarifying, adverse actions in other major markets could trigger panic. However, The institutionalization of Bitcoin in the US now acts as a powerful counterbalance, anchoring the asset in the world's largest capital market. The most significant factor of urgency is the ETF-driven supply squeeze. Unlike retail-driven cycles that build over years, institutional capital moves in coordinated waves, compressing decade-long adoption curves into months. Every dollar entering through an ETF requires the purchase of real Bitcoin on the open market. With a fixed supply and a halving schedule that programmatically restricts new issuance, the market faces a severe potential supply squeeze. This dynamic, the collision of inelastic supply with explosive institutionally driven demand, is why passive waiting is a risk in itself. I don't provide portfolio advice, but I will share the risk management framework I use to evaluate Bitcoin. My goal is not to predict price, but to manage risk and align my position with underlying structural trends. First, I separate the signal from the noise. Having navigated the psychological traps of previous cycles, I've learned that headlines are designed to trigger emotion. On-chain data and capital flow reports reveal conviction. The signal is the net accumulation by long-term holders and institutional funds. The noise is the short-term sentiment driven by headlines. Second, I think in terms of allocation sizing as a defense. My Bitcoin allocation is sized to protect my portfolio from two opposing risks: the risk of a systemic failure in the traditional fiat system and the risk of Bitcoin's own extreme volatility. My position is large enough to be meaningful if the core thesis plays out, but not so large that a 50% drawdown would compromise my long-term financial plan. Finally, I evaluate my thesis on a multi-year time horizon. The core question I ask is not, will Bitcoin go up next month? But, are the fundamental drivers of adoption accelerating or decelerating? As long as the financial plumbing is being rebuilt in a way that favors a neutral, digital, scarce asset, the long-term thesis remains intact. Short-term volatility is then simply an opportunity to adjust my position in line with my risk framework. Your strategy must align with your profile. Which of these four profiles most accurately describes your current strategy? Being honest about this is the first step to ensuring you're playing the right game. For the long-term believer, your focus is accumulation and security. Your primary risk is not price volatility, but custodial risk. Mastering secure self-custody is paramount. Your decision points are not about selling, but about identifying optimal moments to add to your core position during macro-induced downturns. For the tactical investor, you are leveraging Bitcoin's volatility. Your focus is on liquidity flows, ETF data, and technical analysis. Your primary risk is a sudden shift in the macro environment that invalidates your short-term thesis. Capital preservation is key. Use stop losses and be prepared to sit in cash when the signals are unclear. For the first-time buyer, your focus should be education and starting small. The ETF is your ideal starting point, offering a regulated and simple way to gain exposure. Your primary risk is allocating too much too soon out of FOMO. Your goal is to get off zero with an amount you are comfortable watching fluctuate, allowing you to learn without catastrophic risk. For the high net worth diversifier, you are treating Bitcoin as a tool for portfolio optimization. Your focus is on risk-adjusted returns. An allocation of 1 to 5% is a typical consideration. Your team should be analyzing its impact on your portfolio's Sharpe ratio. Your primary risk is ignoring the asset class entirely and missing its potential contribution to risk-adjusted returns over the next decade. Looking forward, the interaction between sovereign debt cycles and Bitcoin's fixed supply sets the stage for its potential endgame role. As the US national debt continues to expand, requiring ever-increasing liquidity, the structural demand for a truly scarce, non-sovereign asset is likely to grow. The behavior of nation-states is an indirect but powerful driver. While headlines focus on which country is adopting Bitcoin, the more important factor is their fiscal and monetary policy. The less responsibly they manage their own currencies, the stronger the incentive-based argument for a neutral alternative becomes. Bitcoin's ultimate role may not be as a direct replacement for the dollar, but as a supranational reserve asset that sits alongside gold and other currencies on central bank and corporate balance sheets. In this future, its value is derived not from daily payments, but from its function as a final trusted settlement layer and a pristine source of collateral in a world over-leveraged with debt. Its value becomes a direct reflection of the market's lack of trust in traditional financial institutions. By understanding this interplay of debt, liquidity, and technology, you are no longer a speculator reacting to price. You are a system-aware investor who analyzes the capital flows before they become headlines. The narrative is shifting from simple price predictions to a deeper analysis of the financial plumbing. The decisions made in this environment will be a defining factor for portfolios over the next decade. The real insight is not in the headlines. It is in understanding the incentives and capital flows. Those who grasp these underlying mechanics are positioned not just to navigate volatility, but to capitalize on one of the most significant reallocations of capital in modern history.